And to win the U.S. presidential election, each candidate needs at least 270 votes from the Electoral College. Voters today are technically casting ballots for electors who will in turn cast the actual vote for the president and the vice president on the 17th of December. The Electoral College is comprised of 538 electors who represent all 50 states and the District of Columbia. Each state has between 3 and 54 electoral votes, and after the general election, electors meet in their respective states to cast separate ballots for president and vice president. The Electoral College results are counted and certified by a joint session of Congress on the 6th of January. Well, joining me for more perspective on the U.S. election is a global affairs analyst, Ejike Okpa. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for keeping me awake. It's 5:05.
And I guess it's a happy election day for you.
Well, hey, this is the day where all Americans have been waiting, and towards the end of the day, we'll know who's going to be who. So, everybody's anxious, and they have said all they have to say many times over, and those who have voted based on who they think should lead the country come January 2025.
Right. So let's talk about how results in battleground states like Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, and Wisconsin are likely to influence the election outcome and the implications of a Democratic or Republican victory in some of the states.
Well, yeah, I mean, America is like no other nation. We're the only ones. We don't rely on popular vote or majority vote. So I guess it's because how the founders thought about this process. We want every state in the union to have a say who becomes president. If not, it would have been, majority, the big states, Texas, California, New York, Georgia, Florida would have cast the vote and then move on. So this is a very interesting process, especially for countries outside of America who have democracy but they rely on majority vote. So the swing states, at the end of the day, they become the state of focus because that's where you want to persuade the voters, for that because they will tilt the vote in terms of who becomes president. So that's why you see the effort, and then that's why you see, I think the American electoral process is too long. This thing has been going on for more than a year plus. If it were up to me, we shorten it to 6 months, and so that we don't have to get a barrage of questions and comments and stuff. Sometimes they are silly in order to have somebody who's going to lead this country. But it is what it is, and who gets more money out of is the media, because all the advertising and all the posters and all these other pundits who say what they say. But the American voters have the ultimate decision, and that decision we'll find it out today.
Right. And in the last bid to show support for their candidate, we saw the former Republican lawmaker listed a warning that Trump may melt down if he loses. What happens if Donald Trump does come out and declares a victory that is not his?
Well, we don't know that. I mean, people's got to say, hey, Trump is the only person who could have handled what, the media, the left, and the Democrats have thrown at him. It's not surprising that some in the party, Republican Party, may come out against him. But Trump for me represents courage. No other American could have handled what he has gone through. And he's still smiling, and he's still there. He's not going to melt down. He's going to accept whatever the outcome is, and he's going to move on. But I think he's going to emerge the winner. He's going to become the second person in the history of American presidency that has won non-consecutive terms, because he's good. If he had won the second term, he would have become a lame duck president. But now that he's coming back after 4 years of vacation, and he's going to be more energized and American, he said, we need our country back. The Democrats, they don't like America. They think it's a come one, come all country. Immigration is not a right. It's not a right. It's a privilege. So if anybody wants to come to America, which is what the Democrats say, it's like open the border. The integrity and credibility of countries are respected when people don't want to break into your country. And that's what the Democrats are trying to do. And then we're going to remind them, we have constitution, we have laws, we're a nation of immigrants, but at the same time, we want people to respect this country when they come here.
And some have raised concerns about, the persona of Donald Trump himself and how relevant it is to this election. Well, for some of the results that have been coming in, especially from New Hampshire, that's Dixville Notch, which has concluded in an unusual tie. We've seen this over the years because it is a closely, watched election every cycle. So how is this serving as an early indicator of the national mood for the election?
Well, again, your question's getting choppy, but let me see if I can address it. Look, the antics of individuals, candidates, doesn't really persuade me. I'm looking for somebody who's going to get the job done. When, Trump was there for 4 years, the world was almost peaceful. I mean, no wars, no nothing. American economy was the best that I have witnessed in my 37 years living in America. But in fact, one of the Democrats, what is his name, Bill Maher, he said the only way Trump was going to lose the second term was for the economy to crash. The Democrats are people who are ready to destroy the country because they don't like an individual. And that's what they have done in the past 4 years. And then we got Biden, who he doesn't even know where he is. If Biden was such a good guy, he would have been running for the second time. But he's mentally depressed and he's mentally drenched, so he's not running. And then what do we have? If Kamala Harris were to have gone for the nomination within the Democratic Party, I bet you she would never have won because she's no good. But they did the selection just like what they do in Nigeria. They selected their presidents, they don't nominate their president. So Kamala Harris ended up getting selected, but American people are going to show that they don't want her. I mean, we want candidates who can stand up for America, not candidates who hate America.
And a lot of candidates will say that, what you have said in terms of, freedom and some other rights that Kamala Harris is bringing to the table is what America needs. But let's talk about the Electoral College itself and the potential implications of this system on the election outcome. Some have argued that it does not really reflect the minority of the Americans, particularly if there is a discrepancy between the popular vote and the electoral vote in this process.
Well, again, when this amendment was made to the Constitution for the Electoral College, look, no government in itself is perfect, but the minorities are represented. Okay, I don't know. There's nothing minor about me. I've always voted since I became a citizen in 1995. There's nothing that that we would do in America that the other side wouldn't like, or somebody would say we don't like it. But again, America has been able to stand up and be the envy of the world. We're not a perfect nation. We are a nation that is always, work in progress. And certain things we do, certain things we get it right, certain things we get it wrong. I think the Electoral College is very perfect. That's why, states that have a population of less than 1 million will still have to have a say who becomes president. Again, I said earlier in my conversation that if this was going to be majority rule, then, at least 45 of American states would even have a say who becomes president. So we just have to deal with it. There's nothing that's going to be perfect with the system, but the system we have is the best one that we can use.
And what is more fun in this is the swing states that we're also, looking at. But it's a fine place to leave the conversation for now. We're staying on the U.S. Election, and we're hoping for a positive outcome. Global Affairs Analyst Ejike Okpa, thank you for joining us on the news this hour.
Well, thank you for having me.
If you vote for me, inflation will end.